Coach, I figure we'll just hop right into questions. We'll start with Ryan Aber and then go to Eric Bailey.
Yeah, Lincoln. Nick Benito had several big plays on Saturday, including the sack there in the third overtime. Just what kind of growth have you seen from him, and just how much room is there for him to keep growing?
He's definitely improved a lot. I think Jamar has been really good for Nick. I think a lot of things that Nick needed to improve on. They've really attacked together, and Nick's a really talented guy. I mean, he's made some big plays around there, but he's still just scratching the surface of how good he can really be. The good thing the other day was it felt like Nick had some opportunities earlier in the year that he was there and then just didn't finish the play. Had certainly a couple chances against Iowa State. And we thought he finished so much better the other day against Texas. Got guys on the ground. I think he's become a more kind of multifaceted rusher. Early in his career, it was just all speed, and he's added to that, which has made him tougher to block. And I also think he's really grown and progressed both in just kind of strength, technique, understanding as far as defending the run game. So, he's much more well-rounded. But still, so much room to go with his upside, which is exciting.
Appreciate it, Lincoln.
Mm-hmm.
Eric Bailey and then Joe Bettner.
Hey, Lincoln, I think Saturday was the first time we saw you change quarterbacks for a non-injury. While the team probably understands this, how much does that help everyone in terms of really understanding competition remains at all positions and changes can be made at critical moments? And also, after watching film, what did you think of Tanner's game?
Yeah, I mean, I think we hadn't been in that situation a ton, but it was just kind of made sense. It was kind of the right recipe. We'd had a couple of bad plays in a row, and I thought it was the right thing to try to calm Spencer down. And Tanner had practiced well and has experience, and I have a lot of confidence in him. So it made a lot of sense at the time, and I do believe it was the right thing to do. I thought Tanner did a good job. That's not always the easiest situation to just go into, just kind of a little bit cold turkey, if you will, and just goes straight in there. I thought he stabilized us, and I thought really he made, the ball slipped out of his hands when he was scrambling to the left, or I think would have had a big play, and then he then didn't throw a good ball. We didn't have a very good route on the ball that Rambo ended up catching off of a tip, and then other than that. I thought he played pretty well, got us driving, and had we not fumbled, looked like we had a chance to go 2 for 2 there on those drives.
Thanks, Lincoln.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Bettner and then Jason Kersey.
Lincoln, to kind of go off that, did you always intend to bring Spencer back in, or do you feel like if Tanner got, the hot hand that he would have rode that game out?
Yeah, I'd never make those decisions in the, as far as kind of what I'm going to do down the line. I think, just kind of looking at the situation as it was, and it made the most sense to put Tanner in. And then, halftime I had a chance to kind of reevaluate it, and, felt like the right thing was to get Spencer back in there. I felt like he'd handled it well and was ready to go. But certainly not, when I put Tanner in, I'm not thinking, well, I'm just going to put Tanner in for a series, or, well, I'm going to put Tanner in the whole game. I mean, I think in the moment, making the best decision you can, and then you just take the new information you have and just continue to keep making the best decisions for the team.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Jason Kersey and Bob Prisbillo.
Yeah, Lincoln, I know we asked you about this yesterday, but since the Big 12 has now acknowledged the clock error, I'm wondering if you had a chance to talk to Greg about that, and if you got any explanation on how that happened, because I think a lot of us on the outside are trying to figure out how they even came up with the number 636. It's just very confusing. Yeah,
no, it is. I mean, Greg gave me a heads up that they were going to put out that statement yesterday afternoon, which was a classy move by him. I mean, Greg's been great. I mean, he's fantastic to communicate with. They're battling. Like I said, nobody wants to hear it right now for players or officials, but our officials, there's a lot of challenges with COVID as well. They're having to mix crews, travel issues. I mean, it's difficult for everybody, not just the players and the coaches and the fans. So. And Greg's been very transparent about that, and owns mistakes and holds his guys accountable and continues to push to get them better, just like we're trying to do with our team. So Yeah, as far as how it happened, haven't gotten into that with him yet. We normally visit here a little bit closer to the end of the week, so we'll talk through it. I don't have a great explanation right now, though.
Bob Prisbillo and John Hoover.
Lincoln, Ryan brought up Nick. I want to bring up David Guebu, someone who really had a nice performance Saturday. What's that transition been like for him moving inside? Is he about where you need him to be now?
He's really progressed. We almost moved him to inside backer. We were going to before spring ball started, and then Benito got hurt in the spring. I mean, it wasn't anything serious, but he was going to have to miss some, a decent amount of spring. So then we moved him back, to that rush spot. And then just as the year kind of unfolded and as we talked more about it, we thought those guys had had chances to be two of our better players. We didn't really want them stacked up at the same position and, young players that you think have some upside. And obviously, we felt like we needed some of the depth and experience that David had from playing in a year and some of that talent in the inside linebacker room. So we've always thought he had a skill set that could potentially fit there. And he's done a good job handling it. Coach Odom's done a really nice job bringing him along in a short time. He reminds me – they're different types of players, but there's a lot of similarities to him and Kenneth in that, Kenneth's first year or two here, you could tell he was going to be really good at the position, but you could also tell that he hadn't played it and was kind of learning on the fly. And I think there's been some of that with David, but David has really progressed nicely to the point where, we're very confident with him being in the game, making plays. And I think a game like that will do nothing but, boost his confidence. Hopefully he continues to progress and play well.
John Hoover and then James Hale.
Hey, Lincoln, you mentioned yesterday kind of taking baby steps, and I guess Saturday as well. Winning a game like this is obviously one of those big baby steps, but I'm wondering in regards to the fourth quarter, the leads that the other team overcomes, are you able to design segments of practice where you can actually work on being better in crunch time, like mental drills or something like that? Or is this just a case of, hey guys, here are the plays I want you to run. Now just execute them better?
Yeah, no, certainly. I mean, that's you certainly, design practice to put them in there. I mean, most teams were not much different, do, loads of 2-minute drill. Most teams, it's a little more difficult to do this in the season. It's a little bit more of a camp in spring, but you work, 4-minute offense and defense where, you're trying to, either run out the clock offensively, use as much as you can. Defense is obviously, being a little bit more aggressive, trying to get stops. And like I said, I think for us, it just comes down to making plays. I mean, we had a lot of opportunities defensively on those last couple of drives to make plays, and we didn't do it. We had obviously a couple of chances offensively, especially the 2 third down plays on the last 2 drives that we just, we botched that should have both been not just first downs, but big plays. And so you got to make those plays then. And but I do think we'll take a lot of confidence from how we played in the overtime periods because we played some of our best ball on both sides, during those overtimes. So something we got to grow with. We've been in those situations. We certainly got to do better.
All right. Thank you.
We'll go to James Hale and then Dean Blevins.
Lincoln, over the last 2 years against Texas, you've been able to pass rush them really well. You had 9 2 years ago, 6 this year. Against other teams, it's been a little bit hit and miss. What do you think about your pass rush right now, and why so much success against Texas?
Yeah, I mean, I think our pass rush the majority of the year has been pretty decent. I mean, Iowa State got the ball out pretty quick. I mean, like I said, I don't know that Brock against us threw the ball more than 15, 20 yards down the field, maybe once or twice. I mean, they just got the ball out quick, and we didn't do a good enough job getting them on the ground. Texas, I thought we covered pretty well, which, caused Sam to have to hang on to the ball, and our guys were active and played well. And so, pressure and all that is kind of twofold. I mean, it's you got to cover well enough to give those guys time to get there, and then when you do, they got to get there. So you got to play in sync, and we certainly played more in sync for the majority of this game.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Dean Blevins and then Brandon Drum.
Yeah, Lincoln, wondering about wide receiver, because at times it looks like all these recruits come in and you just got a bevy of guys out there, and then all of a sudden you get down to a game like Texas and Drake is out there the entire game. What's the picture short and long term here for the wide receiver position?
Yeah, it's been an interesting position this year. You know, we've had through these first 3 games where we've had just so many guys out, and it's been the people that have been available. I mean, we've had several that haven't been available for any of the games, but then we've also had throughout these games, a guy available for 1 or 2 of them and not the others. And it's been, other than the Z position, it's been a little bit of musical chairs, honestly. And so we've had to kind of make it work with what we've had. No, I mean, yeah, it's kind of 2 things. You're excited about some of the guys that are stepping up, like Drake has, and I think Theo Weiss obviously took some steps. Marvin's came in and done a really nice job this year. So there's some guys that have stepped up and take advantage of those opportunities. And then obviously, whenever the time is, we'll be excited to get back, several of those missing pieces that aren't available for us right now, because it's certainly, it's a good group, but we're certainly not at full strength right now by any stretch.
Brendan Drum and then Kerry Murdoch.
Yeah, Lincoln, I know you don't have a crystal ball or anything like that, but every quarterback seems to have has had some sort of game where they've had that moment of where everybody seems to rally around them for the rest of the season that propelled you all the rest of the year. Kyler with Texas, even then I lost, just the way he made that comeback in 2018. The K-State, even though it was a loss with Jalen, the comeback, the plane, the players only meeting, all that stuff. Can you sense that coming along with Spencer and the team just rallying around him, especially with how he played during that final period and the 4 overtimes?
I think it's a fair point. I mean, I think, teams want to believe in their guy, and I think we're fortunate to have a couple of guys that our team believes in. But I think, doing it in crunch time against your rival is a good way for it to happen. And, it just took some guts and some real competitiveness for those guys to play the way they did in those situations, for Tanner to come in and stabilize us, for Spencer to come back after having a couple of big mistakes and play the way he did, especially in the third quarter and overtime. So, I think it's a learning moment for those guys. I think our team believes in the kind of players that we have there, and winning one like that in the fashion that we did certainly does not hurt.
Kerry Murdoch and Keegan Renault.
I actually thought the better comparison might be, Baker at Tennessee. And, that game, he struggled all along, and then late in the 4th, go to overtime. What did you see from Baker and the team to that point that maybe Spencer has to do to kind of galvanize people in his team behind him after a game like that?
Yeah, I mean, that year had some different types of adversity, and that, year one and people trying to learn stuff and all that. And this year's a little bit different. I mean, it's, we're playing again with just a lot of young guys and all the other challenges. So for a first year quarterback, there's some unique challenges here that first year quarterbacks have never had ever at any school. And so, yeah, I mean, it's all part of the growth process, and you've got to continue to push through whatever's in front of you. You got to continue to get better, stay confident in yourself, and make the plays that you're capable of making. And so, I think to be able to continue to improve and again execute, especially like we did there in the second half, I think we'll give those guys a lot of confidence and a belief that we can handle anything that's thrown our way in this crazy year.
Thanks, Lincoln.
Mm-hmm.
Keegan Renault and then Myron Patton.
Yeah, Lincoln, you said Perkins traveled to Ames for moral support, and I know he wasn't there on Saturday. Is there any reasoning for that? And then as well as Chris Murray, has he gotten his eligibility, and is he available to play for you guys, and what kind of impact can he have?
Ronnie Perkins' deal, I'll if I ever happen to write a book, I'll have a whole chapter dedicated to that one. Chris Murray, we found out on Friday, won his appeal, so he is eligible. Based on the length of time, it comes at a good time. You got a bye week, chance to get him up to speed. But he's certainly a guy that, based on what we've seen, I believe will have a chance to contribute for us this year.
Sure. Thanks, Lincoln.
Mm-hmm.
Myron Patton.
Lincoln, could you comment on Isaiah Thomas? Looked like I remember the Baylor game, the Big 12 championship. Looked like he was kind of getting some things figured out, making some plays for you. It's obvious he's continued here this season and becoming a playmaker in a couple positions, the defensive line, and then also in the defensive backfield. It seemed like your guys, the interceptions are great, but it seemed like they just made more plays on the ball. I'm sure you emphasize it all the time. Did something change to trigger that, or was that part of the pass rush that you were getting?
Yeah, Isaiah's done a great job. You know, probably the most improved football player on our entire team. I'm so proud of that kid. You know, he's played inside for us. He's played outside. He's just been tremendous. He has really improved. I think he's playing with a lot of confidence right now. And it's been huge. I mean, we have absolutely needed that guy to step up with some of our losses, and he has done it in a big way. And it's been huge for our football team and for our defense. The DBs, you know, obviously played a few more guys. I thought that was helpful, kept some of those guys fresh, had a great week of work. Yeah, and I think it's a combination. I mean, I think we covered well, stayed in good position the majority of the game. And then certainly when you get a pass rush and that ball's having to get up there a little bit quicker, it always helps.
Okay, Coach, it's 12:19. Do you have more time or do you need to get going?
I better head that way. Sorry, guys.
Okay.